What's going on, everyone? So it's Monday, the 26th October, and we're off to a good start. So this past Friday, I made a video on how I was getting prepared to, I guess, buy canned food, try to make the least amount of trips to the grocery store, to anywhere in public to avoid getting sick. And lo and behold, somehow I got sick. So even when one tries to prepare, you know, unfortunately, you're still going to get sick. But I thank my Father that, as you can tell, I'm energetic. I'm alive. I thank Him first and foremost for giving me life, for giving my family life, and for being able to be here, right, making this video with you guys. So one of the things that I want to say before anything is, please subscribe to this channel. I need everybody to familiarize themselves with me. I'm really trying to make a difference in this world, and that's the whole purpose behind these videos. So anyways, with that being said, this weekend something came to my mind, and only after hearing my mom say something to the extent of, the Pope now allows homosexuals, something to that extent. Please don't quote me. Please look it up for yourselves. Anything that I say, look it up for yourself. And she asked me how I felt about that, and I told her, well, first and foremost, why should I personally feel any way about that? It's not for me, an ordinary person, human being, to place judgment on another person. There's only one judge in this world, and that's our Father. And like I've said it many times, I would never place judgment on anybody because that's none of my business. So with that being said, I went ahead and gave the example, and I'll give you guys the example as well. My own daughter, she's 9 years old, and nobody ever put this in her head. Nobody ever told her this, but since she was a little girl, she's always had an attraction to women. And naturally, when we first discovered this, I was like, yeah, I was playing around. I was just playing around. The only reason I went along with it is because, naturally, as a father, one tends to think like, oh, well, man, I don't want to have to go. I don't want the day to come for when my daughter is going through problems with her significant other. And in one's mind, obviously, you tend to think a male. And I'm going to have to step in and correct this situation. As a parent, you want the best for your children, and eventually we all go through that in life. We all, no marriage is perfect, no relationship is perfect, and we all go through problems. So the thought that I had in my mind, jokingly, was that, oh well, at the very least, I won't have to go through those problems with my daughter. Or at least not to the extent of that, other couples go through problems, right? But the more and more I got into my own Bible study, studying the Word of our Father, I came to realize that's not condoned. And nor should I promote it, nor should I say that's okay. One thing that you have to understand as a parent, though, is that people, I don't think that all of a sudden you wake up one day and say, oh, well, I'm attracted to the same sex. I think it's something that human beings are born with, and if that is the case, there's no changing that. You know, you have to accept things the way they are. And me, as a dad, as a parent, the thing is that I'm not going to love my child any less. I have to love her the way she is. And you have to love your children the way they are. That's not going to say that I'm going to promote that, I'm going to put that out there and encourage that. No. You know, obviously I'd be going against our Father by doing that. But I'm going to love this child no different than any other regular child, any other normal child. And I'm not saying that they're not normal. That's just the way that it's coming off. And please forgive me if I'm saying something that's offensive. I don't ever mean to offend anybody. I do say things the way they are, and you know, that's just that. But to ever offend anybody, that's never my intent. So the way I felt about that was, you know, who is the Vatican, or I suppose specifically the Pope, to tell others how they should live their lives? Each of us has a responsibility to our Father. Each of us has a responsibility to get to know Him, to get to know His Son, and to live our lives the way His Word has informed us of how to live our lives, which is essentially to first work on ourselves, and then, you know, try your best to not affect your fellow human beings, but uplift them, you know, inform them the news, the good news, that everybody is able to obtain salvation. And that's the work that I want to do for our Father. I want to help out the poor and inform everybody that just because that we've made so many mistakes in our life and we're so imperfect, it doesn't mean that He loves us any less. Our Father is love. That's what He's all about. So nobody has to feel any sort of way. I found it important to communicate this message to you because, you know, a lot of the times government, they try to intervene in people's lives. They, you know, obviously they've had laws about same-sex marriages. Just to give you an example, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but my point of view is that I don't think government should personally be intervening in people's lives when it comes to that. Everybody has a responsibility to do what is right. And let's just say, for instance, you know, to touch up on this example, if it is that you happen to be a person that is attracted to the same sex, well then that is something that you will personally have to talk about to our Father. That's just the way you were born. It's possible that you didn't just become this way overnight, and I don't believe that anybody should be placing judgment on you. And with that being said, it doesn't only apply to homosexuality, it applies to everything else. Nobody has the right to judge another person. Only you have a responsibility to our Father and to live your life the best way that you can. And once again, don't ever feel any way about anybody else placing judgment on you, because who are they? I'm pretty sure that they have their own problems that they possibly hide in the closet and don't put out there. But what's the purpose of that? What is the purpose of one hiding their problems if inside it's eating at them? And you know, they're a miserable person for that. They're here placing judgment on other people. It's like that saying goes, it's so easy to point a finger, but what's the point of pointing a finger if three are pointing back? Or the story of where the Pharisees gave Jesus a rock to stone, I believe it was a woman. But what did Jesus tell these Pharisees? The first person who has not committed any sin whatsoever, you go ahead and throw that stone, because we are all guilty of being imperfect. We are all guilty of sin. And not a single one of these Pharisees, these people, could throw that stone, because, as I've already told you, we are all guilty of being imperfect. So, the message is, nobody should ever be placing judgment on another person, because nobody is perfect themselves. So that was the message for today. That's what I had in my heart to communicate to you guys. But I wanted to tie it in with how my Monday's going. Once again, I felt a little bit under the weather since Friday, but thank God that I found enough energy to start on this RSX, because the goal is to get it ready to sell, and hopefully we can have this ready soon. So I went ahead and wire wheeled the floor, and I went ahead and treated it with Osphol. Next, I'm going to apply that paint as soon as this Osphol dries, and then I'm going to start putting all the interior back in. So that's how my Monday is going, and that's pretty much it. So everybody, I hope you all have a good day, and I hope you all always put your family and your faith first.